Quit dreaming big when you're not good at anything. You'll just waste your time and get nowhere. My mom mocks my dreams. Since I was little, her cold words have always paralyzed me. You can't waste your dad's money. Give it to me. It seems she won't be satisfied unless she takes everything from me. I've been hoping to get her approval, but I can't overlook what she's done anymore. I'll make her wish she hadn't spent 28 years making my life miserable. I'm Allison and I'm 28. It might be unusual for my age, but my dad passed away last year. Now, it's just my mom and me. I have a job and I have dreams. And my mom is healthy. To outsiders, it might seem like I am leading a happy life. But I have had serious concerns since I was a child. Allison. Show your face when you get home. How many times do I have to say it? Honestly, this is why. When I return home tired from work, the first thing I hear is my mom's grumpy voice. I'm home. I thought you were already asleep, so I washed my hands first. You always make excuses like that. Surely you don't do that at work too, do you? Utterly charmless, that's why you'll never get married and have to keep working. I like my job, and I'm not interested in getting married. That's what I mean. You're always so defiant. Why can't you just express your feelings more honestly? I can't believe I raised someone who acts so twisted. My mom wasn't in a particularly bad mood that day. This is her normal behavior. Ever since I can remember, she has always negated me, showering me with words like unattractive and useless. I have given up on expressing my feelings or emotions to her. But, are you even listening? Do you have any idea how much I've done for you? You don't know the pain of losing your husband at a young age. I won't stand for you being zoned out just because you're worn out. It's as if she thinks it's fine for her to be distracted by work. And that I can't understand her suffering. I once said I wanted to live alone, and even then, I had a terrible experience. My dad was still alive at the time. But when I tried to check out an apartment close to my workplace, my mom stood in my way, crying and making a scene. After that, I was scared to even mention living alone. And now that my dad has passed, my dependence on my mom has worsened. I thought, well, I should just ignore her sarcasm. And taking care of parents is a child's duty, right? Day by day, I convince myself while absorbing my mom's complaints and sarcasms after a tiring day at work. However, her attitude only escalates. Hey, Allison. You've been coming home late recently. Is it because you're incompetent? And have to do overtime? Don't tell me you're wasting money hanging out every day. Even on busy days, I can't escape my mom's persistent nagging. When I get home, she beckons me to the living room with evaluative eyes from top to bottom. It's not like that. I don't have time to play. I've just been really busy. Lies. A useless person like you wouldn't be given so much work. I know better. Don't tell me. Allison, you're not caught up with some guy, are you? Stop it. An unattractive girl like you is just being played with. It's not like that, stop it. As long as I can remember, my mom naturally repeats words like useless and unattractive. To her, these are not insults, but advice for my own good. Until a year ago. My dad used to shield me, but now it's just me and my mom. I have to absorb her verbal abuse 100%. Just keep this in mind, Allison. Since nobody's really picking you, just keep working away and live with me. I won't even mention wanting grandkids from you. Grandkids. My mom laughs as if she's enjoying herself. Her hobby has always been to belittle me. I used to tolerate it when she was in a good mood, but now that we're just the two of us, it feels like this will never end. But, by the way, this month's household budget is already tight. Allison, without any hobbies or a boyfriend, you probably have some extra money, right? How about putting a bit more into our home? What? I can't do that. What? Why not? My mom reacts as if she's heard something outrageous. But I am the one who should be surprised. I'm already giving her a significant amount each month. Being asked for even more means she wants me to have no money for myself and to dip into my savings. Yet, she seems annoyed that I refused and stands up to scold me. Allison. Who do you think raised you to be able to work normally? You ungrateful child. It's unthinkable to let your mom live in hardship while you indulge yourself. I'm not indulging. I'm already putting enough money into the house. I even give up on clothes and cosmetics, and I'm barely saving up by giving up going out. There's no room for savings. I barely have any spending money myself. I'm hesitating about a trip to Florida because I've been invited. Then maybe you should work, you're still young. My mom is only 56. Despite tearfully claiming she has no money, she has remained a housewife since before my dad died. The house mortgage is paid off. And if she took a part-time job, the money I put in could sustain a decent lifestyle. Even considering a trip makes me wonder. I am cutting back my lifestyle to the bone. Maybe it was the expression on my face or the suggestion that she worked that irritated her. But my mom slammed her fist on the table. What's with that attitude? And how dare you speak to me, your own mother, like that? How can you be so arrogant and cold? You really were born with a bad character. Not even thinking about making life easier for your only kin. I'm at my limit in helping you, please get where I'm coming from. What? To your limit. Yet you just bought a new suit. What limit? You could cut back more if you really tried. I reached my limit with my mom's shrieking and her inability to reason. It was too much. She thinks of me as some kind of ATM, only after money. I had to assert myself properly. With nerves making me gulp, I gripped my trembling hands under the table and managed to look straight at her. Listen, I haven't told you this, but I want to start up a business. There's a job I want to do. That's why I need to save properly. I can't give you any more of my salary or bonuses. What? A business. It was a big decision for me to share my future plans with my mom. My fists were still trembling. In front of me, my mom stood and started laughing loudly. What are you talking about? That's impossible. You've always failed at crucial moments since you were young. And you're just unlucky. Stop dreaming like that. That's cruel. Dad believed in me. I cried because of my mom's reaction, but for her, it was business as usual. She nonchalantly clapped her hands and said, your dad. By the way, Allison, there's some money your dad left you, right? Give it to me. What that money is? Unlike my mom, my dad always supported whatever I wanted to do. That's why I was able to talk to him about my dream of starting my own business before he passed away. He wanted to support my dreams. So he left me a substantial amount of money. He set up a bank account for me and gave me the passbook and ATM card just before he died, and of course, my mom knows about this account. Feeling that she couldn't squeeze any more money out of me, she's now demanding that money. That's the money Dad saved up for me. I want to use it for my dreams. What? At my frightened response, my mom's face contorted as she yelled. Unbelievable. Why can't you just give it to me obediently? That money should rightfully be all mine since I'm his wife. You just took it from me. I took it. That's not it. Dad. Be quiet. You're just fooling around, aren't you? Saying you're starting a business but really just fooling around. You even bought a new suit because you've gained weight. Aren't you just out enjoying delicious food by yourself? I know everything. Her suspicions were so severe that I didn't know how to respond and fell silent, which led my mom to heave a dramatic sigh and sit down, cradling her head as if tormented by a selfish daughter. I was overlooking it out of pity, but you should know that the money in the bank account and ATM card is mine. You're eating and drinking with my money, aren't you? Is food tastier when it's bought with someone else's money? You ungrateful child. Give me back all of it now. Why do you always have to say such awful things? As I inadvertently began to cry at her harsh words, my mom clicked her tongue in disgust. There it is, Allison's fake tears. I'm really tired of it. Forgetting the kindness I showed in raising you, not putting money in the house. Not giving back my money. What a terrible daughter. I'm done, it's too much trouble. Saying that, my mom stood up again. Looking up with tear-filled eyes. Her gaze was cold, looking down at me disdainfully. A wretched child like Allison would do this. Whatever business you're planning, it'll never succeed. I, your mom, who has watched you since you were born, am telling you this. It's a waste to use money on dreams that will never succeed. Once she said what she needed to, my mom marched to her room, banged the door closed, and locked herself in. I headed to my room too. But my tears wouldn't stop. I was used to my mom's verbal abuse, and she would likely forget about it and be cheerful by the morning. I shouldn't let myself be swayed by it and need to switch gears. Although I tried to convince myself, the hurtful words weighed heavily on me. And I went to sleep feeling deeply depressed that night. As I expected, my mom showed no awkwardness the next day. She nagged me as usual when I returned from work. I thought, since it's always like this with mom, if I can just endure the nagging, it seems she won't demand any more money, and I can somehow live in peace. Yes, even before my dad passed away, whenever she lost her temper, she would act as if nothing had happened the next day. When I was a child, every time she scolded me, I cried and apologized profusely, but now that I'm this age, I know I don't have to break down and apologize even if it hurts. This is the relationship between me and my mom. And I'll keep pushing forward towards my dreams. At that time, I forced myself to accept this, avoiding facing the reality of my relationship with my mom, unaware of how deep her obsession was. For a while after I confided my dreams to my mom, she was oddly in a good mood. Although the usual lengthy scoldings persisted after I returned home, they ended quickly. It seems she was busy during the day going out to buy clothes and makeup, and spending time spreading them out in her bedroom. There were also days when she hummed tunes and spent a long time in the bath doing skincare, and for me, her good mood was genuinely welcome. I thought to myself, I'm concerned about how much we're spending, but it definitely lightens my mind. I really hope this makes our bond as a family stronger. I was so pleased with my mom's good mood at that time that I would have been willing to forgive all the terrible things she had done in the past. Just when I was beginning to have more hope for my mom, I was about to learn about my own naivety and my mom's true horror. I'm home. That day, after finishing overtime, I called out to my mom, who should have been waiting for me in the living room. But unlike every other day, not only was there no usual nagging, there was no reply. The lights in the living room were on, so it was odd, prompting me to call out further. Mom? But the living room, the kitchen, and even my mom's bedroom were empty. I thought, is she out? That's unusual. Recently, my mom has often been out during the day, shopping and such. But she was always there to greet me in the living room at night. I thought, well, she's an adult, maybe she's out late. Not having experienced a time when I wasn't monitored by my mom, I was puzzled by the normalcy of other families. Thinking it inappropriate to keep searching the house for my mom at my age, I went to my room to drop off my things. What is this? I exclaimed involuntarily at the sight of my ransacked room. The closet doors were open, and every drawer had been turned upside down. I thought, could it be a burglar? No way. Could this be related to Mom not being here? In a panic, I quickly grabbed my smartphone to call the police, but first, I tried to confirm my mom's safety. As I gripped my trembling phone, calling for a while with no answer from my mom. I thought, what should I do? I need to call the police. Just as I was about to end the call, I finally heard an annoyed hello from my mom. Ah. Mom. Where are you? Are you safe? Huh? Allison, what are you talking about? Because you're not here, and my room has been trashed. As I spoke frantically, still clutching my racing heart. My mom laughed merrily on the other end of the phone. Allison can't do anything by herself, so she got scared because I wasn't home. How funny. This isn't the time to laugh. Actually, I'm on a trip to Florida right now. I won't be back for a week, so I'll talk to you later. Hearing my mom's destination, I felt completely drained. I was relieved that she was safe, but my room remained a mystery. It's fine if you're on a trip to Florida, but why is my room in such a mess? Oh, I was looking for something before I left for the trip. Looking for something? I have a bad feeling about this. From the way the room was ransacked, it seems like my mom was desperately searching for something. What were you looking for? When I hesitantly asked, my mom sighed. What do you mean? I was only looking for the bank book. And the ATM card your dad left behind. Hearing what my mom was searching for, my blood ran cold. I hurriedly checked the drawer where I kept my valuables, only to find that the bank book and ATM card given to me by my dad were gone. You didn't take them without permission, did you? Oh, relax. I'm kind, so I only used a little bit. A little bit? How much did you spend? $5,000. Well, when the date changes, I'll withdraw another $5,000. It's annoying that there's a withdrawal limit on my own money. Florida has so many rare things, and I wanted to buy lots of souvenirs. Well, it's okay, isn't it? $10,000 is nothing compared to the love you've squeezed out of me over the years. At my mom's words, I collapsed right there. $10,000. And she doesn't even understand the value of that amount to me. With a mind gone blank, I somehow continued talking to her on the phone. How did you withdraw it? Allison, you were using the bank account Dad set up, right? I already knew the PIN. So once I got the bank book and ATM card, they were mine to use. Before he died, my dad must have shared the existence and PIN of this savings account for me with my mom, trusting that she would never touch money meant for her child. Feeling utterly betrayed by my mom who violated that trust, I accused her harshly. That money was saved by Dad to support my dream of starting a business. Holding the smartphone with trembling hands, I was the exact opposite of my mom, who exhaled as if she couldn't care less. A business? Ah, yes, I remember you mentioned something like that. Don't worry, Allison, you can't do anything big like that. You're bound to fail. That's why I nipped it in the bud for you. Be grateful. What? Just as I was about to yell more into the phone, I heard a man's voice calling my mom from afar. Got it. I'm coming now. Suddenly switching to a cloying tone, my mom responded to the man, catching me off guard. Mom, are you on a trip with a man? So what if I am? Unlike you, I'm popular. A proper man has formally asked me out. And I'm dating him. Wonder if that makes you jealous? Laughing joyously, my mom then hung up the phone. Alone, I could only stare blankly around my ransacked room. I never imagined that my mom would withdraw the money left by my dad and go on a trip to Florida with a boyfriend she met within a year. It's demonic, considering she's my own mom. As I dwelled on what my mom had done, something inside me snapped. Why had I ever tried to be liked by such a person? Why hadn't I written her off sooner? But regretting now won't bring a better future. No more expectations from my mom. I'll definitely make her reflect on all the times she's pushed me to my limits. Fired up, I stood up just as the home intercom rang. I thought, who could it be at this time? Warily, I responded to the visitor without knowing. I was about to uncover shocking truths about my mom. I'm back. Ah, it was so fun. A week after going to Florida, my mom returned home as if nothing had happened, ecstatically. Moreover, she was dressed in a flashy floral dress with a wide-brimmed hat and sunglasses, looking as if she had just returned from some tropical paradise. Look. This is a dress I bought in Florida. It's flashy and suits me. It's by a famous designer. I bought a lot, including the belt. And the decoration stuff is coming later too. Now I can always remember Florida. It was truly a wonderful trip. While my mom was rambling, she just kept stacking up more bags. She was clearly thrilled from her vacation with her rich boyfriend. And out of her bags came a ton of bright, patterned dresses that I could never see myself wearing. Silently, I searched on my smartphone and found that a dress by a famous designer could cost several $1,000s. All that, bought with the money Dad left me. You don't even wear dresses usually. And what's with the decoration stuff? Getting carried away buying such useless things. It's just shameful. I spoke to my mom calmly. She turned to me with a surprised huh? What is it, Allison? Who's that with you? My mom was startled and stared at the woman in a suit sitting next to me. I smiled warmly and introduced the woman to my mom. This is Janet. Today, she has something important to discuss with you. I asked her to join us. Nice to meet you. I'm Janet. Instead of returning any greeting, my mom recoiled in shock. What, suddenly? Did you mess up at work and your boss has come to scold you? Really, you're such a loser. You've ruined the best mood from my trip. No, everything's wrong. And to think you call me a loser. Huh? What's with that sassy tone? Did you say her name was Janet? This kid's useless at work, right? Looks just like it, all twisted up and charmless. If you don't fire her, you'll suffer more too. No, I haven't suffered any inconvenience from Allison. Despite my mom's sarcastic attempts to demean me, Janet remained unbothered, causing my mom to frown. Ah, your head's messed up. Typical of a boss from a company where Allison can keep working. Mom, forget that for now. Give me back my $10,000. There's no way a trip to Florida costs $10,000, right? Just give me back whatever's left. You're persistent. That was my money, and I spent the full $10,000. You spent all $10,000 on a week-long trip to Florida. Trying to remain composed, I was truly shaken by my mom's claim. I hadn't expected her to have spent it all. My mom was quick to explain how she splurged. Well, I paid for everything for my boyfriend. Staying in a luxury suite, enjoying activities. It was really the best. Wait. Mom, you paid for all the trip expenses. Why? I did it because it was our first anniversary, and I'm so happy and in love with my boyfriend. He's a bit strapped for cash, so I thought I'd splash out to make him love me even more. My mom was smiling with a dreamy expression I had never seen before. If it's really their first anniversary, that means she started dating him right after my dad passed away. My mom was a far greater monster, lacking in common sense than I had ever imagined. Concluding that there was no saving her, I stared at her. Mom, I'm going to sue you. I'll take you to court to get the money back. What? She shifted from a blissful look to one filled with pure anger. Quit joking around. I was just enjoying my own money. Why should I be sued? Allison, you're being unreasonable, considering how incompetent you are. My mom looked at me with scorn, as usual, laughing at the absurdity of being sued. It seemed she wasn't taking me seriously. I gave Janet, who was sitting next to me, a nod. It is indeed possible for Allison to sue you. You stole a bank book registered in Allison's name and withdrew money without permission. Unfortunately, it won't qualify as a criminal case since it's an interfamily issue. However, there are no restrictions on filing a civil lawsuit. We will make sure the money is returned. What, even you, Janet? This is between me and Allison. I don't know who you are, whether you're her boss or what, but you're an outsider and should stay out of this. Even as my mom glared at her unpleasantly, Janet remained unmoved. Witnessing this exchange, I decided to properly introduce Janet to my mom. Mom, Janet isn't my boss. She's a lawyer. Wait, what? That means? It means I've hired a lawyer to sue you to get back $10,000. As I declared this, my mom began to tremble violently. Wait a minute. Why should I have to pay back money to my own daughter? Janet answered. Perhaps you could express those sentiments in court. Sneaking around to steal your daughter's bank book and claiming the money you withdrew as your own, it's quite laughable. It was then that Janet finally showed a smile. I can't return $10,000. And to threaten me with a lawsuit, what am I supposed to do? That's not my concern. You should have anticipated this before spending $10,000. Besides, the amount you owe isn't just $10,000. What? You still want to squeeze more money out of me? With a victim mentality, my mom stared at me. I sighed and nodded to Janet to proceed. Mrs., while I am contracted as Allison's lawyer, I also have another role. Huh? What? I don't know about that. I'm the woman who's married to the guy you went on that Florida trip with. Janet's revelation made my mom fall out of her chair in shock. A loud noise echoed in the quiet living room. Struggling to get up, my mom's face turned pale, and she trembled even more. Excuse me. Did you know he was married? There's no escaping it now. We have evidence of your emails with my husband that prove you knew. He was married when you got involved with him. That can't be. But I didn't know his wife was a lawyer. That's unfair. Unfair, indeed. It's disgusting that my husband, with my support as a lawyer, is off having fun with another woman. I'm not going to forgive him. Or you. Janet had been keeping a close watch on my mom and her husband. When they went on the trip, Janet took the chance to visit our home. Spurred by fury upon hearing that my suddenly luxurious mom might have been funded by her daughter's cooperation. In reality, as his daughter, I too was a victim of my mom. Learning this, Janet agreed to represent me in recovering $10,000, seeing me as a fellow victim. Since I would have had to look for a lawyer anyway, her offer was a relief. And thanks to Janet's proactive approach, everything was ready. By the time my mom returned from her week-long trip, my husband lied about a family tragedy to go on a trip to Florida with your money, which was originally meant for his daughter. I can't forgive this. I'll claim not just from him but from you too. Stop. I didn't mean to. Allison. Explain to her that it's all just a misunderstanding. What misunderstanding? What kind of nerve do you have to go after someone's husband? Right after their dad died? After knowing this, any last bit of pity I had for you is gone. Do your best to pay us what you owe. How can you say such things? For the first time, I countered my mom's usual dominance with calm retorts, and she, usually so forceful, just stood there opening and closing her mouth. I've always tried to be liked by you. Despite the terrible things you said since I was little, I kept hoping that if I tried harder, you'd recognize me. But you've always been selfish. Selfish. I've sacrificed so much to raise you, Allison. How can a child I raised and cherished say such things to me? You verbally abused and squeezed money out of the child you cherished daily. Took money from her account for a trip with a boyfriend you made right after losing your husband, and he was even married. People can be so low. Just by listing what she had done, my mom turned red with rage upon hearing it. What is this paranoia? Getting carried away? I won't forgive you. I'm not asking for forgiveness. We're discussing whether I will forgive you or not. I want $10,000 you took back. I'm prepared to go to court for it. I will fully support Allison and also pursue my own claims for damages. As a lawyer with my own firm, I have many reliable colleagues to help. Shockingly, my mom had temporarily forgotten she had entangled herself with a married man. At the mention of a lawsuit and claims for damages, her face went ashen and she began to tremble again. Wait, please, Janet. I'm truly sorry. I didn't intend for this. And Allison, you're not the type to sue me, your own mother, are you? You've always been so kind and forgiving. Isn't that wrong? I'm the cold, charmless one, right? That's what you always said. And your words to a married man's wife were just unintended? That's too low. I don't even want to think of you as my mom, which makes it easier to proceed without mercy. Perhaps realizing that my mind was made up, my mom's face turned pale. And she began to nod her head repeatedly. Please. Mom has no money. Allison has been cutting back on the money she puts into the house, and somehow I'll save up for the damages. So please wait for the $10,000. Please. What are you talking about? Even now, you're still counting on my money. And you're planning to prepare money for your own mess with what I put into the house. Stop joking. But, Mom has no other options, right? That's sad, isn't it? You've always looked down on me. Unfortunately, I'm leaving this house. So there will be no more living expenses for you. Show some initiative and earn your own money. I had already cleaned up my room and emptied it almost completely. There was hesitation in leaving the house full of memories with my dad and abandoning my mom, but I decided not to think of her as a relative anymore. Once I made that decision, my mind felt clear, with no regrets or attachments. The spell was broken. Even my deceased dad would be happy to see me free. No. Wait. How will Mom manage to live without me? I don't know. I've been saying this, haven't I? Work. Also, once you've safely returned $10,000, I'll sever ties with you. I'll send you a declaration of disownment. It doesn't have legal force, but it feels right. After explaining that much, my mom's mouth fell open. How horrible. Abandoned by her husband, and now disowned by her only daughter. What should I do? You brought this on yourself. I thought you'd been prepared to be disowned by me. From the way you used to coldly speak to me. No. I always meant well. I always did everything for you, Allison. Sure, you always say that and never reflect on your own actions. Keep justifying yourself for the rest of your life. It doesn't concern me anymore. With that, I stood up, grabbed my suitcase from my room, and continued. Feel free to dispose of the remaining furniture as you like. Well then, goodbye. As Janet and I were about to leave, my mom, now in tears, suddenly began to beg. I'm sorry. I didn't know you were so hurt, Allison. I'll return the money. I'll break up with him and we'll never meet again. Don't leave me. I can't handle being all alone. Maybe another fun trip to Florida will distract you? Oh, but no more trips until you've paid back $10,000 and the damages, okay? Bye. I left the house with Janet, ignoring my mom's cries of I'm sorry, echoing behind me. There were no tugs at my heartstrings. Later, my mom, now alone, started working to pay me back and to pay Janet the damages. I arranged with my mom to repay $10,000 within a year, and Janet's damages were settled immediately with a loan. So my mom spends most of her part-time salary on repayments. During her first part-time job, filled with stuff she wasn't familiar with, the joy of receiving her paycheck disappears as soon as it's in her account. Because she has to repay me and Janet. Apparently, my mom is dealing with a ton of frustration. but without paying me back, as the notarized paper says, she could get in trouble. So, she has to keep paying me back. It's really good that Janet, a real lawyer, charged into our house. If I had been negotiating a loan to get the money back, the outcome might have been different. My mom, who debuted in part-time work in her 50s, is quite clumsy and is hated by her colleagues and part-time peers. The incompetence she used to accuse me of must be hitting her now. Even if it's her own child, one should not throw such harsh words. My mom lost her boyfriend, feels lonely at work, and is mentally unstable. She reportedly spends days crying while looking at photos of me and my dad. It seems unhealthy for her mental health to continue living in a house full of memories with me and my dad, but she has nowhere else to go. So she just lives expanding her loneliness. Perhaps being alone has made my mom reflect on what she has done to her irreplaceable family. She contacts me almost daily via phone, email, or sometimes letters, asking for forgiveness. But I have no intention of forgiving her. If I were to interact with her again, it's clear she would revert to her old ways of looking down on me. After Mom pays back the $10,000, I'm going to send her a notice saying we're no longer family. Change my phone number and where I live, split our family records, and limit her access to our personal records. By separating from my mom, I have finally started living my own life. My dream business plan is taking shape. And I have a timeline for resigning from my current job. There's another reason why my business plan is progressing so rapidly. Janet has been giving me legal advice at a low cost, handling contracts and legal procedures that had been difficult for me. She has become an indispensable business partner. The situation was unimaginable when I was alone and desperate after my mom took $10,000. While I'm sad I can't show my dad, who was the only one who supported my dreams, how well things are going now, I express my gratitude to him every day as I dedicate myself to the work of my dreams, believing that maybe his support is what brought me a reliable partner like Janet.